You feel it in your bones, don't you? That deep, nagging exhaustion that comes from saying yes when every fiber of your being wanted to scream no. The request might have been small, staying a little late, taking on one more tiny task, or lending an ear to that friend who only ever seems to take. But the weight of it feels enormous. You want to set a boundary, to say that simple two-letter word, but you're just too tired to even think about the potential conflict. Honestly, the energy it would take to have that conversation feels like more than you've got in the tank. But what if you could stop the burnout with phrases that take almost no energy at all? What if you could get back your time and your sanity without some big, dramatic confrontation? Well, you can. That's what this video is all about. Simple, low-effort ways to say no, so you can finally stop the cycle of exhaustion and start getting your energy back for good. Why you're too tired to say no. If you feel guilty or weak, because you just can't bring yourself to say no. The first thing you need to hear is this. Your exhaustion is not a personal failing. It's a completely normal consequence of a pattern called people-pleasing. People-pleasing is when you consistently put others' needs and desires ahead of your own, usually because you're scared of rejection, conflict, or just being seen as difficult. For so many of us, this started in childhood. We were praised for being helpful, quiet, and agreeable. We learned our value was tied to how compliant we were. Saying yes became a survival strategy to get love, safety, and approval from parents, teachers, and friends. Now, as adults, that wiring runs deep, creating an unconscious belief that our worth is based on how much we do for other people. The problem? This strategy comes at a huge cost. Constantly putting others first leads to emotional exhaustion, burnout, and chronic stress. It's a vicious cycle. You say yes because you think that's what a good person does. You get overcommitted, your energy drains away, and you start to feel resentful and frustrated. That resentment doesn't just vanish. It eats away at your mental health and can put a huge strain on your relationships. And this isn't just a feeling. It takes a real physical and mental toll. You might feel tired all the time, even after a full night's sleep. You might live with a constant, low-level hum of anxiety from trying to meet everyone's expectations. You might even feel like you're losing your own identity. Because you've been focused on everyone else for so long, you don't even know what you want or need anymore. So when the moment comes to say no, your brain and body are already running on an empty battery. You're not just dodging a tough conversation, you're trying to run a marathon on zero fuel. The way out isn't about finding some hidden strength for a big fight. It's about learning how to stop the leak, one tiny drop at a time. The low-energy solutions. Okay, so let's get into the good stuff. We're not talking about grand, scary confrontations here. We're focusing on simple, practical tricks you can use even when you're running on fumes. These methods are all about protecting your precious energy while breaking that automatic yes habit. Technique 1. The power of the pause. The first technique is the most passive one, and that's exactly why it's so powerful. It's simply the pause. When someone asks you for something, your people-pleasing instinct just screams for you to give an immediate, helpful answer. The pause is your secret weapon to shut that down. Instead of saying yes on the spot, you say a simple, neutral phrase that buys you time. Your go-to script is, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." Other versions work just as well. "I need to check a few things before I commit. Let me circle back." Or, "Thanks for thinking of me. Let me look at my calendar and I'll let you know by the end of the day." This is brilliant for a few reasons. First, it requires almost zero confrontational energy. It's a totally normal, polite, and professional response. Second, it breaks that adrenaline-fueled automatic yes. It gives your nervous system a second to calm down. And most importantly, it creates space between the request and your response. In that space, you can actually ask yourself the most important question. Do I really have the energy for this? When you're away from the pressure of their hopeful face, you can check in with yourself. You can look at your day, feel into your body, and decide if this is something you can do without sinking deeper into burnout. The pause gives you back control. It lets your no, if you decide to give it, be a thoughtful choice instead of a panicked reaction you don't have the energy for. Technique 2. The micro no. If the pause buys you time, the micro no builds your boundary muscle with the lightest weight possible. The idea of saying no to a big, important request can feel terrifying. So don't start there. Start with the smallest, lowest stakes requests you can imagine. Think of it this way. You wouldn't start lifting with a 300-pound barbell. You'd start with 5 pounds. A micro no is the 5-pound weight of boundary setting. These are the tiny requests you usually say yes to without a second thought. For example, a coworker asks if you want to grab lunch, but you know you need that hour to decompress alone. Instead of the automatic sure, try a gentle micro no. I'd love to another time, but today I really need to use the hour to recharge. Or someone asks if you can quickly review a non-urgent email. A micro no could be, I can't right now, but I can look at it tomorrow morning. The key here is to resist the urge to over-explain. You don't owe anyone a 10-minute justification for your decision. A long, apologetic explanation just drains the very energy you're trying to save. Your no is a complete sentence. You can be kind, but firm. Phrases like, no, thank you, or I'll have to pass this time, are perfectly fine. Every time you pull off a micro no, you're sending a powerful signal to your own brain. You're teaching yourself that it's safe to say no, that the world doesn't end, and that most people will respect your decision. It builds your confidence and makes it a tiny bit easier to say no the next time, creating momentum that will eventually help you tackle bigger boundaries when you're ready. Technique 3. The energy-based boundary. This technique reframes your no, so it's not about rejecting the person, but about a non-negotiable policy you have for managing your own energy. This is incredibly effective because it takes the personal sting out of it. You're not saying, I don't want to help you. You're saying, this request falls outside the rules I have for myself to stay functional. This can sound like a yes but statement or a simple policy. For instance, if a friend asks for a huge favor that would eat up your entire weekend, instead of a flat no, you could say, I can't give up my whole weekend since that's my only time to recharge, but I could help you for 2 hours on Saturday morning. This offers a compromise that honors your limits. Even better, you can just state your boundaries as simple facts. For example, I have a personal policy of not taking work calls after 6 p.m. to prevent burnout. Or, I'm not able to take on new volunteer projects this quarter, as I'm focused on my existing commitments. Framing your boundaries this way makes them sound official and less open for debate. It suggests this is a rule you apply to everyone, not just this person or request. It shifts the focus from your willingness to help to your capacity to help. This is a lifesaver when you feel drained because you're just enforcing a rule you already made for your own well-being, not inventing a reason on the spot. Before we cover our final and most crucial point, I'd love to know, which of these low-energy techniques feels the most doable for you right now? The pause, the micro no, or the energy-based boundary? Let me know in the comments. Sharing your choice might just give someone else the courage to try it too. What to do when they push back. This is the moment we all dread. You've used your low-energy script, you've politely said no, and the other person pushes back. They might ask again, guilt-trip you, or tell you you're being difficult. Your exhausted brain immediately flags this as a threat and wants to retreat right back to yes, just to make the discomfort go away. This is where you need one final low-energy tool, the broken record technique. You do not need a new excuse. You do not need to defend yourself. You simply and calmly repeat your boundary. Let's say you used the pause and came back with, thanks for the offer, but I don't have the capacity for that right now. And they reply, oh, but it will only take an hour. I really need your help. Your response isn't to argue about how long it will take. It's to repeat your boundary, maybe with a slight variation. I understand it's important, but like I said, I just don't have the capacity right now. If they push again, you say it again. I hear you, and my answer is still no. It feels uncomfortable, but it takes far less energy than getting dragged into a negotiation. You are not being rude, you are being consistent. And remember, their pushback isn't usually a sign of malice. It's often just surprise because they're so used to your automatic yes. Their reaction is their responsibility to manage, not yours. Staying calm and consistent teaches people that your boundary is real, and over time, they'll learn to respect it. Your job isn't to manage their feelings. Your job is to protect your energy. When it comes down to it, learning to say no when you're exhausted isn't about becoming selfish or unkind. It's about finally embracing the oxygen mask rule on an airplane. You have to secure your own mask before you can even think about helping anyone else. Giving from an empty tank doesn't actually help anyone. It just leads to resentment, half-hearted efforts, and a level of burnout that can leave you unable to help at all. You don't need to magically transform into an assertive, confrontational person overnight. Just start small. Pick one tiny, low-stakes situation this week and try one of these techniques. Maybe you'll use the pause on an email, or try a micro no for a social invite you're dreading. Your energy is your most precious resource. Protecting it isn't aggressive, it's necessary for your well-being. You are not alone in feeling this way, and you absolutely have the right to rest, to recharge, and to reclaim your peace. So, if this was helpful, please give it a like, and be sure to watch my other video on the 5 signs of high-functioning burnout. You can find the link in the description below. Thanks for taking this time for yourself today.
If you're feeling overwhelmed, I made something for you. Grab my free Calm in the Chaos guide, link in bio.